I said I would do a video once a month, and it's already halfway through the month, so I'm sorry, but here's the video. We're going to do 4 decks that cost less than 75 bucks. This is if you're in the US, so I'm talking US dollars, and after shipping, but before tax. So I'm only saying like 75 because the most expensive deck, spoiler alert, Blackbeard, it's like about 50-60 bucks when you just value the cards. So when you factor tax and shipping, it's like 75 bucks, right? But you know, tax and shipping, those are services, not the goods itself. All right, we'll start off with the first deck here. We've got Belo Betty. We're going from cheapest to most expensive too. So this deck is literally gonna cost probably like 25 bucks to build. It beats, as you can see, some of the slower decks as well as faster decks, but it loses to mid-range because if your opponent has any instance of being able to clear board, your deck will pretty much just lose. The deck itself is pretty simple. The whole purpose of what you want to do is play the Emporio Ivankov into Karasu. Actually, yes, it would be either this Ivankov or this Ivankov, because ideally both of them will be able to bring out your Karasu that is just going to permanently sustain pressure. Well, it's going to sustain pressure on your opponent. Koala is another way that you're going to be able to play Karasu right away, as well as have a big beefy character. The cost itself, let's see, I think I might have to clear the cart real quick. Always optimize when you're on TCG player. So yeah, again, if you wanted to play this entire deck and get into One Piece right away, this deck is probably the cheapest way you're going to be able to competitively play. Keep in mind, some of these cards are flex too, but the main idea, like Koala, Ivankovs, the Karasu, and this Belo Betty card, they're all going to be in pretty much every single Belo Betty build. So for every deck I'm going to be listing today, your mileage may vary, but there are at least about 5 to 10 cards you could tech out of each deck, but the rest will be main staple like engine cards, core to the deck. Next up, we'll go ahead and talk about Reiju. All right, Reiju is a mid-range aggro character. When I say mid-range, I mean like tempo. Like, she will carry you in the mid game, but still will fizzle out in the late game, similar to Belo Betty. There are, unlike Belo Betty, where most of these cards you see here are going to be locked to the leader, Reiju will have a few staples where you can actually play them in various other decks. So when it comes to building this deck, it's going to cost a little more. I think about 50-60 bucks. Let's go ahead and put this, by the way. I'm gonna guess 60 bucks. Let's see. Okay, Reiju. When I'm talking staple cards, I'm referring specifically to cards like the Porsche here, the Black Maria, this Reiju as well. These cards are going to be good into pretty much a variety of other purple decks that will be coming up. I know Reiju's blue and purple. For now, she's been rocking pretty much all purple, with the exception of like 1 or 2 tech cards being like Red Rock or Pudding. I think there's new support where you're adding in more blue cards. There is definitely more Vinsmoke support that's coming out soon, but I don't know what cards are being played into the type of deck. Two different ones here. This is a more conventional build. That one was kind of weird. Let's just X out of that. Again, Black Maria, Reiju, Porch. The new card that makes this deck relevant again is going to be the new Searcher Sanji. A lot of this deck revolves around going into Ichiji, using his effect to summon Big Ichiji. Now, this may be activate main, but as you can see here, in order for this guy to get his big wombo, it's an on play. So Blackbeard, which is a prominent deck right now, will shut down Reiju pretty heavily. Porch, Reiju, also on plays. Pretty much like almost all of this deck is on play actually. So it will lose pretty much most of the time to Blackbeard, but for other decks, you will be able to hold your own against like mid-range decks, Doflamingo. Lucci, you will also be able to rush him down as well. This deck is strong enough to beat down Milnami as well, so that's a testament. I think she's like the standard benchmark, the Milnami. She is the standard benchmark to test like how aggro decks and how fast they are. It does lose once again to Teach and late game decks. Red Purple Luffy just reaches his late game a lot quicker. Enel is always reaching his late game, and once again Teach just does the shutdowns. But if you wanted to build it, few cards are purple staples. The deck price after optimizing, because remember, you always want to optimize. Okay, it's a little cheaper than I thought. 45 bucks. Not bad. So a second relatively meta deck here for $45. Let's go to the last two. Now, surprisingly, it seems like you would think that this game is very expensive if you wanted to play at a competitive level. That's mainly going to be because the red and green cards in this game right now have spiked up in price due to the release of the new cards that support it. I'm talking, you know, the red SR Sanji in the new set. That's like 10 bucks right now. I'll even pull it up for you. For an SR at release to cost $10 is just a testament to show like how strong these colors have become. Sanji there, Tashigi here, Smoker here. We got a rare Chopper that's still going for $3. So yeah, red and green have become very expensive as far as colors go. This list of 4 decks does avoid pretty much most of that. Well, Belo Betty has red, but again, she's mostly revolutionary locked. It's pretty affordable to actually play this game if you wanted to play in general and still be competitive. With that being said, I do believe that Doflamingo. Let's clear this card again. Doflamingo fits that niche where you can still play competitively. It did get nerfed recently, so it did lose its most powerful card. But the fact that this deck is still topping events is just a testament to how unnecessary it was and how this deck has gone a lot cheaper to build. So it does lose to specific decks like Purple Luffy, which just spams the board even faster with heavier characters than this Doflamingo character does, especially with the loss of Jinbei. It also loses to Bonnie because as you're spamming your board out, she's going to be able to clear your board while at the same time just permanently stun one of your attacks. So she out-tempos you, basically. You will be able to beat Teach, though, still, because it doesn't stop your on-play effect of playing another character. As far as Teach's effect goes, you will be able to beat Zoro still if you just play smart and clear their board as you're attacking. You will also beat most of the non-meta, just simply because of his inherent kit of being able to just bring out constant 4-cost characters, be it 6,000 or 5,000 attack. It's got a few staple cards in it. By that, I mean the Pudding, the Raging Tiger, the Red Rock. You're going to see those in a lot of other blue decks. Kaya was also a very popular tech as well in the past. And I guess you're teching it back in. Altogether, I would guess after optimizing, you're probably dropping like $60, 76. Okay. So, yeah, you're still seeing a meta type deck. It's just a little bit more than I thought. So we're gonna go ahead and just put this at the $76 range and change the video title to 76 bucks. All right, last but not least, we've got Teach. Teach is pretty much the most skill check kind of leader, I would say right now, because his effect to be able to negate your opponent's on plays by discarding a card is very selective as to being able to know when to do that for each and every leader. There's some decks where you never discard. There's some decks where you're going to be discarding pretty much every single turn. So again, it's just a matter of learning your opponent's deck when it comes to this. Inherently, it does beat the later game decks like Enel and Lucci. It does have a niche matchup against Bonnie. I wouldn't say it necessarily loses, but it is kind of like a coin flip in my opinion. Maybe like 60-40, 70-30. 70-30 is more of a coin flip. I mean more like, yeah. I would have to see it in practice, to be honest. It does lose to the spam out decks and decks that don't really use on plays as much. So we're talking like the Rush red cards, as well as Doflamingo, which is just, once again, the spam guy. Most cards will be Blackbeard locked, but that does mean the deck will be cheaper in general to build. Let's see how much. So, purpose of this deck is literally just see this guy in the late game. He's going to be able to negate one of your opponent's attacks. He is a huge blocker. He does a lot. He does a lot. That's literally the precipice of it. Again, knowing when to discard is key. In the mid game, you're just going to be clearing your opponent's board with like these events and stuff. But that's really the whole idea of how Blackbeard runs. Price-wise, I'm going to assume it's definitely cheaper than Doflamingo after optimizing. Okay, 70 bucks. So yeah, just a little bit cheaper. Again, it's not gonna break the bank if you want to just start playing this game right away. You can get into the game for as cheap as like $40, $30, $40, you know, after buying sleeves and all that stuff. And that basically sums it up. I would say these are the 4 decks. If you are just starting One Piece or you're kind of newer to the game, I'm talking like set 9, set 10. These are the 4 decks I would look into before looking into any other decks. All right. I'll think of a good video for next month. Again, now I'm just kind of clueless, but I hope you guys enjoyed. The whole point of these videos is, you know, if even one person just learns, then I'm happy enough. That's why I keep making them. Take care.